Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake might be in some serious trouble. Now, this is a might, but there is a lot of proof around it and reports to corroborate it, along with a lawsuit happening now that does not paint a good picture for the future of the KOTOR brand. Now, I doubt you'll be able to hear it here. It is a dark and stormy night. It does fit the atmosphere of how I think a lot of people are feeling about this game right now. What's interesting is this came at a time for me where I just said that I wanted to kind of shift focus on this channel a little bit, do some more videos about RPG games, some of the games I grew up with, and Knights of the Old Republic is one of those games, actually, that I grew up with, that a lot of people grew up with, and the remake announcement back, I believe in 2021 of September, was a big deal to a lot of people. I did have some concerns at the time, but those were more around things like writers attached to the project. Fast forward, though, and you start getting to some issues, obviously, later on, where all of a sudden there were reports from Bloomberg, essentially that developers had, and I quote this from Kotaku, spent a significant amount of time and resources on a proof-of-concept demo that failed to pass the muster at a review meeting. After that, the report went on to say that senior leads were let go from the project, and then KOTOR was moved over to Saber Interactive in Europe, with Aspyr no longer handling it. And then there was a lot of stuff, going on with that we reported on too, on this channel, which if you want to see any of those videos, I'll put the links in the description below, because this topic has come up a few times. But essentially, then there was an issue around Aspyr where they had promised a Knights of the Old Republic 2 DLC for the Switch version that never materialized, got canceled a little while ago, which we also talked about. Now you get to today, and just a couple of days ago, all of the tweets talking about this game from Sony and, all the things associating it with a PlayStation officially, gone. Those were now actually just scrubbed from the internet. They were deleted. And then, of course, there was an update the other day, which is why I waited to talk about this. And there was an update that basically a spokesperson for Sony said that the KOTOR remake trailer was delisted over licensing issues, saying, as part of normal business, we delist assets with licensed music when the licenses expire. But Kotaku pointed out here that the only music in the trailer was basically the main Star Wars theme, which is a Disney-owned theme, and there would pretty much be no reason for that to expire. They didn't point that part out. That's something that I just want to say, because it wouldn't make sense to have a license for a trailer for a year or two, and then that expires before there's any way the game could ever come out. It just doesn't make any sense. So a lot of people are very frustrated. A lot of people are kind of wondering if this is dead in the water. Sony acted like it is not canceled. It's just part of normal business, but they didn't really say it's not canceled. They didn't really say it is canceled. It just seems like they are kind of running away from it right now. It is worth noting that when the subject of Knights of the Old Republic remake came up a while ago in an Embracer Group, I believe it was an investors call, they just declined to comment on it and seemed frustrated and didn't want to talk about it. Now, that doesn't say that the game is not happening, but it also doesn't say anything good. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but usually what companies do is this big thing called saving face. They do not want to talk about anything bad. They only really want to open their mouth when it's to say something good. Unless it's to blame the fans when it comes to a movie or something, to pass blame off. They don't really want to say like, hey, our game didn't sell well, or hey, our product didn't sell well, or hey, we messed up. They really don't want to do that. And why don't they want to do that? Well, getting sued is one of those reasons. And I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of think they deserve a little bit to get sued, because they straight up promised people, they did promise people in their trailer for KOTOR 2 for the Switch that they were going to be bringing content from, the PC that was fan developed, that was cut content that had been reinserted into the game. They were going to be bringing that to the Switch version at a later date. So guess what? When you promise that before your game comes out, there's going to be a lot of people who buy your game based on that promise. Now, I understand that in the comments, whenever I say that, people say, well, Jay, you should never buy anything based on a promise. You should only buy it based on what you can see. But here's the thing. The physical edition of that game was limited. It was limited edition. It was through limited run. So there were a lot of people who bought that physical edition specifically because it was a limited version that you could only get. Like, it wasn't something you could wait and get later unless you wanted to pay more on eBay, is essentially what I'm trying to say. So there are people who put money into it for that. And then there are also people who saw the history of Aspyr They saw the history of the good work that they had done, bringing Star Wars content to modern platforms through ports and all kinds of other official work that they've done. And they said, well, this isn't just a promise. This is something fulfillable because they have a history of doing a good job. It's not like if I came out here with a pyramid scheme and I said, hey guys, give me $1, get everyone in your family to give you $1 to give to me, and I promise I will make a new video game about Star Wars, that I have no ability to deliver on. It's not like that, where people were buying into something stupidly. People bought into a history of trust with that developer, saying, okay, well, they did a good job here, and now they're working on the remake too. Hey, this is great. They're going to do good. They're going to do right by the fans. They always do. Let's buy it. But Embracer has been through the ringer. Embracer owns Aspyr, that is their essentially parent company, and they have been through the ringer a little bit, lost a bunch of money. Essentially, they lost out on a $2 billion investment in Saudi Arabia a little while ago, and it's just been an issue for them in general. It seems like they're cutting costs and cutting ties with a lot of people. Now, the problem is a lot of this stuff never gets fully out there. Like, they never actually tell you most of this stuff. It just doesn't materialize. But we did get a full-on cancellation of that DLC a while back, and now a lawsuit has come out of it because people are saying, hey, look, I bought this game because you said this content would be accessible to me. You said that you would do this thing you promised, and you didn't. That is false advertising. When you have false advertising, when you have actual lying about your product, like I mean straight up lying. I know a lot of people get away with it. You have to be very careful with that because a lot of the trust of especially capitalism, which is already crumbling and already on thin ice with things like the housing market, things like increasing costs all around, our money not being worth as much, people's wages not really going up, all these real world issues, right, that are already happening. You don't want to compound that by saying, hey, everybody can just lie about their products. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You can say your burger is all beef, but it's actually made out of alpaca. You can't do that, right? Because at the end of the day, that is shaking that trust in the economic system more. It's making it so people don't want to spend money. It's bad for everyone. There are a reason that there are legalities around this, and there's a reason why someone could be sued for what they did with canceling this content that they promised prior to the game even coming out. That all ties into the situation going on now with KOTOR Remake, where essentially the studio that was supposedly making it probably isn't even anymore. We don't really know what's going on with it. They refuse to comment on it in official investor calls. They refuse to comment on it on the end of Sony. And you know what? I don't even blame Sony for not commenting on it that much. I think they probably should. I think it would be best to get out ahead of it and say, hey, look, we had problems with the development of this. It is being retooled. Like, here's the thing. If someone like me, Degenerate J, forgot to say my name in this. If someone like me could say, look, guys, I messed up. We tried our best on this game, but it wasn't coming along to meet the quality of standards that we know you players deserve, that you demand as a customer, as a valued customer of our company. So what are we going to do? We're going to eat the cost on that. We're going to go back to the drawing board. It's going to be redeveloped under another company because we want to give you the game that you deserve. That's all you really have to do. Yeah, it looks bad. Yeah, your shares might take a hit for 2 days until you announce your next game. But at the end of the day, you get out ahead of that, and you are going to get a lot of hate at first, but you taking responsibility for that is ultimately a good thing. This comes off as a move to just run away and hide and basically just delete everything around the game and hope people forget about it. I don't know why they thought people would, though, because at the end of the day, this is an industry where, at the very least, gaming journalists are always watching for the next thing to talk about. This is an industry where articles and videos are made about gun rebalances in Call of Duty and Halo. People are vigilant for stuff. People are vigilant for screw-ups. People are vigilant for changes in the wind when it comes to games they're looking forward to. People are watching for stuff. So it doesn't really make sense to me that they would just think that people wouldn't notice. I just don't really understand it at all. I don't understand how they thought people would just kind of have no idea that this was happening. It is just a mess, and I'm interested to hear what you think about it, because I think that even though Sony has a ton of great exclusive games, I don't think even with their catalog of good stuff that they would fully cancel this game. Maybe they would, but the reason I don't think that they would is because it would be such a bad look. This was a game that people had been wanting for a very, very long time, to see some kind of remake, remaster, some kind of modern day reinterpretation, whatever, of Knights 1. Now, how it's going to turn out, even if it does materialize, I don't know. I've always been worried about the comments on supposedly modernizing, the game, and a lot of people talking about how the combat system they thought was going to be more modern and not really turn-based and stuff anymore. That works for some games, like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Other games and movies, when they try to modernize and fit in with the modern gaming atmosphere, you can easily screw up what made the game so special. So that was always a concern. But with the way it's going right now, it's not something we're going to have to worry about for a long time, because they're just not talking about it. They won't say anything about it, and it's just kind of scrubbed from the internet now. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. This is just kind of a real situation of shitting the bed when it comes to, they clearly announced this way before they should have and had a lot of faith in what was being made, and I don't know what happened here, but it's not a good look. Interested to hear your thoughts down below. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. I appreciate you very much. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shui.